Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Poets and Quants' Online MBA panel. Today, we're talking to admission gurus from two leading programs to help you find the right online MBA for you. I'm your host, Christy Blyzeffer with Poets and Quants, and I want to welcome all our viewers out there. Please feel free to use the Q&A function to submit questions that you have for the panelists. I'll do my best to get through those as we move along. And of course, thanks to our two lovely panelists today. And we're going to start by letting each of you introduce yourselves, tell us your name, title, and a little bit about your schools. Tracy, we'll start with you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Christy. It's great to be here today. My name is Tracy Hess. I'm Associate Dean for the graduate programs in the Isenberg School of Management at UMass Isenberg. I'm also a faculty member in the Operations and Information Management group.
Great, thank you. Naz?
Hi, everybody, and thanks again, Christy and Poets and Quants, for having UF MBA Warrington College of Business back on. I'm Naz Aranguj. I am the Director of Admissions for the University of Florida MBA program, and we offer a host of MBA options from our full-time executive weekend. And of course, what we're talking about today is our online program. So I'm excited to share with you all both our online one-year as well as our online two-year program and what all we have to offer. So I don't want to get too much in the weeds right now, but I've been with the program for about 13 years at this point.
Very good. Thank you so much. Well, Tracy, we'll just kind of let you dive into a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of the online MBA at Isenberg. Go ahead and tell us, how long you've been around, how long it takes to complete, just kind of those nuts and bolts that students need to know.
Great. So the online MBA program in the Isenberg School has been around for 20 plus years. Same degree as our on-campus MBA program. We were one of the leaders in the online space, and it takes our students anywhere from, say, 2 to 4 years on average to get through the program. We have what we consider to be a really high quality offering, very accessible, good price points, good number of credits to get through, traditional coursework, but also some really innovative electives and focus areas to offer our students, and a myriad of ways to get through the program.
Yeah, very good. Nas.
Yeah, thanks. So we offer two types of online MBA programs. We offer a 24-month, 2-year program designed for any undergraduate major. So you've never had to take a single business course before to be eligible for 2-year online program. Of course, the common factor is the fact that everybody has to have a minimum of 2 years of professional experience to be eligible. We also offer, and I think this is one of our differentiators here at the Warrington College of Business, is we offer a 1-year online MBA program. This is designed for those who specifically have earned a bachelor's in business within the last 7 years, so they don't have to repeat any of the core business classes. And that program is about 16 months from start to finish. Now, we actually start our online programs now 3 times a year, fall, spring, and summer. We are truly excited to be in this space, and in fact have been in the online space since 1999. So we were a pioneer program in developing an online format, or back in the day we called it our Internet MBA, and sent out cassettes. We obviously don't do that today, but it would be really funny if we did, because nobody would know what to do with them. So we offer these 2 types of formats. We, have a 1-year, 2-year. Another great thing to think about as you're considering an online MBA program is if the program is a synchronous versus an asynchronous program. So here at Warrington, we are an asynchronous program. So we only require students actually to come here to sunny Gainesville once for orientation, and then everything else is done virtually in an asynchronous format, meaning you don't have to all be logged on at the same time to view your lectures.
Very good. Naz, what other kind of flexibility do you have in the program? You talked a little bit about pacing and the asynchronous delivery, but what about class selection, required courses, that kind of thing?
Yeah. You'll see that there's actually 2 types of programs out there. Ours is more rigid in nature because we are a cohort model. So you come in with your cohort of, about, let's call it 60 or so students, and you all work together from start to finish. And so there is very little flexibility. I know that Tracy's program offers a lot more in terms of the flexibility to get concentrations. Our overarching focus is in management and leadership. Now, what we also kind of, have focused on is this idea that as an online student, there's so many things pulling at your day to day. And so with an average weekly time commitment of 15 to 20 hours, what we felt would be most beneficial is to bring in a group of about 60 students that can take the same classes from start to finish, really focus on that management and leadership so that you have, the camaraderie, you have your teammates, you have everybody that you kind of have that shared experience with from start to finish with. So we don't offer any concentrations or specializations, but you touched on the flexibility component. Like I said, this is adding basically like a part-time job or a really hefty hobby, right? And people don't wake up and say, what do I want to do? I want to learn about finance or accounting today. I mean, some people do. But there is inherent flexibility because we do start this program 3 times a year, that if a student needs to pause or if they need to work with one of our academic advisors to revise their curriculum, that they can take an additional year. So in theory, the best MBA is an earned MBA. Right. And so we really want students to finish what they've started. So if you need a little bit extra time, we have that inherent flexibility because we do start 3 times a year. If you have to take some time off, that's okay. We'll offer these classes in sequential order next term or the term thereafter. So we recognize babies happen. They're exciting. We recognize that people go on deployment. We recognize that people, change jobs and they need some downtime to focus on that. And so all of those kind of life scenarios, we gladly work with our students.
Yeah. Well, Tracy, tell us about the flexibility at Isenberg then.
Great. So we also have 3 start times: fall, spring, and summer. As far as our flexibility goes, fall and spring are required semesters, but we also offer a winter session and summer sessions. And I'm always amazed at how our students can creatively use all of those sessions together. So, for example, we have a Boston networking night twice a year, and I was talking to one of our students who, takes traditional classes fall and spring over a longer term. And then in the winter takes a class or 2 over 6 weeks. And then in the summer, we actually have 2 6-week sessions and a longer session. And that student was very eager to get through the program quickly. So they took one in the first 6 weeks, another in the second 6 weeks, and then one across both of the 2 6-week periods. So on the other hand, if life happens, right, you can just take classes in the fall and spring and take that break in the winter or the summer. Or maybe take the second summer session instead of the first. So we really do have a lot of flexibility as far as start time and how many classes you take at a time, whether you take breaks and so forth. We also have flexibility in modes of delivery. So you can take every aspect of our course completely online and completely, asynchronous. But all of our online instructors also offer optional ways of engagement. So they'll offer, say, 5 live online office hours or 5 online class sessions that you can join in. And in that way, students can get to know the faculty and their peers more. We also have, if you're in the New England area, we also have 2 satellite sites, one in Boston and one in Worcester, and we have a light meal we serve with those classes. And so students can come in. They have 5 in-person classes during, say, a semester. And that way they get to engage with the faculty and their peers, get a little bit of high touch, and the rest is at their convenience. So we find that those are really popular. Some students try to take, classes at all the different sites and really use a lot of those hybrid locations. And other students decide, hey, I can do this online, and that's really my speed. Yep. And then coursework wise, you can go with kind of our base core model with the core classes and say an elective, or you can add on the focus areas. And what I really love about our program is that students get into it and they're ready to just get through it, right? They're a little nervous about the coursework on top of their professional careers. But then once they're in it, they keep going. So they add on a focus area. We recently added a dual degree with an MBA and an MS in business analytics, and they add on the dual on top of it. So it's just really remarkable, I think, and speaks to our program that they want to keep learning with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, just sticking with you, Tracy, can you kind of walk us through a little bit about the admission and interview process and, how students or applicants can maybe prepare for that?
Right. So we have what we refer to as kind of 3 advisors or coaches with our program. We have admissions coaches, our academic advisors, and even career coaches. And so on the front end, we have our admissions kind of advisors or coaches, and they're there to answer any questions and to talk about the program with all of our prospective students. As far as our admissions process goes, we know that our prospective students are working professionals. They've got experience under their belt. And so we try to be very transparent, right, with regard to what our application requires, what we're looking for. So by the time they're ready to submit, they feel pretty comfortable with how they're going to fare in the admissions process. And interviews can be optional so that, they can reach out and talk to someone if they have more to share than what's in their application, or they can talk to one of the admissions advisors on the way in.
Yeah, very good. And how about at Warrington, Naz?
Yeah. So, the admissions process, I actually think, begins very early on, hopefully in the kind of the ideation of wanting to do an MBA. And that's where I feel like my team and I are here to really, help individuals. Like I said, this isn't an easy decision. And all of you watching, I commend you for taking this first step and investing in yourself. An MBA is a huge thing. And I think that really kind of thinking of that mindset of finding a program that really meets your needs is paramount. And it's important to understand what types of programs are out there, what we have to offer, and really understand the value proposition of what you're looking to get out of the MBA, coupled with what the program can deliver, because that's really what will add the most value to that experience. And I think for us here at Warrington, when we think about the admissions process, my team and I, we're always happy to Zoom, email, we do weekly virtual info sessions. I'm on the road. In fact, last week I was down in South Florida doing coffee chats. So we're just kind of all over the place trying to meet those busy working professionals where they would like to be met. And the application itself, we've redesigned it to be fairly straightforward. Once again, you don't wake up on a random Tuesday morning and say, today's the day I'm going to apply to X amount of MBA programs, right? There's some thought and intentionality that goes into this. And so, when you think about the admissions process, at least on the Warrington side, you're just going to go fill out some information about your academic background. We have some essay prompts because we want to make sure you've put some thought into it. We require 2 professional letters of recommendation. We do need transcripts. And so the whole process from start to finish is fairly straightforward. And some things that I like to kind of point out is that we have made the decision to waive the testing requirement. So we aren't requiring the GMAT or the GRE. So as a busy working professional, if that's one less thing you want to have to do or pay for, then, we kind of allowed for that now with this test waiver. But also when it comes to the interview process, this is really where I think that, I strive to have my admissions team really talk to every candidate, because at the end of the day, we want to get to know you. We want to make sure that we are a good fit for what you are looking for, and that you're a good fit to be hopefully a Warrington brand ambassador for years to come. And so the interview process is something that we do for every candidate that we think there's something in their application that we want to know more about them, right? Maybe you had a pitfall, or struggled or had to work full time while doing your undergrad. And so your GPA took a little bit of a hit, or maybe you had some life event happen. And so we do interview candidates on a case by case basis. I would say if there's something in your application, let's call it, below 3.0 GPA, or maybe a gap of employment, we may very well just reach out, schedule a Zoom just to get to know you better. Because once again, this is an investment in yourself, and we recognize that regardless of the cost of a program, we want to make sure that when you're here for orientation, that you've earned that spot and that you're excited, and that even if maybe you come with a background that's, maybe you were less than prepared, that you're prepared now. And so it's that let's have this conversation. Let's manage expectations early on, and let's be available to our students. I always joke when I'm signing out of these poets and quants session that like I'll give out my cell phone number to anybody, because at the end of the day, I want to have that conversation. I want to be approachable to any candidate, especially as they're moving through the application process. So it should be fairly straightforward. And definitely I encourage you to go to our website if you are thinking about applying, and you'll see my face there as well as my
Yeah. With your cell phone number.
Yeah, maybe not my cell phone, but my office line is definitely there.
Tracy, do you want to tell us a little more about those focus areas that you were talking about, what they're in, when students can start kind of choosing that path or whatnot?
Yeah. So our current focus areas are business analytics, finance, marketing, health management, entrepreneurship, / management, and sport management. And again, kind of as I mentioned, students can come into the program with really no expectations of a focus area and can add that on at a later date. We also have a nice way for students to kind of on-ramp into the program. They can pursue one of our certificates, transitional certificates, which are, say 4 classes, try it out, and then all the credits transfer into the online MBA. And so we have a focus area in management and business analytics, and we also have certificates in management and business analytics that allow people to kind of on-ramp gently, test the waters, and, see if they're ready to jump into their online MBA.
Yeah, absolutely. Naz, I think you said you didn't have the concentration. Is there anything here that you'd like to add?
Yeah, so we don't have specific concentrations, but there's most certainly avenues to enrich the MBA experience. And so we offer, all of our students have to satisfy an experiential learning course. And this can be done in a number of ways. Students can come to Gainesville and do an immersive 1-week course here. They can take a negotiations course, or, we also offer, every season or term, this changes the topic of what we're offering here on campus. So a student could maybe, say, hey, look, I want to be a true Gator and I want to come to campus and get the feel of the swamp. And in which case they could come and take a 1-week immersive course on campus. Now, if they'd like to go abroad, we have our international study tours, our global immersion experiences, where they can satisfy their experiential learning credit going abroad, where they'll spend 1 week visiting 6 to 8 different companies. In fact, we just had a group return from Vienna, Austria. So they spent the week there. We had another group go to Oman. So that was super exciting, our first trip to Oman. And so we run these global trips about 4 times a year, or to 4 different locations. And so there's a way to, of course, add an additional kind of experience, if you will, beyond just the online learning modality. And of course, if a student needs to do an online elective experiential learning course, they can most certainly do that, because we recognize they've elected to do an online program for that increased flexibility. But we also offer the last course option is a business policy or a healthcare policy course out of Washington, D.C. We're a part of the D.C. consortium of programs, so they can spend 1 week and learn more about either of these topics in that type of setting. And just one random last other elective that we had to offer that was neither really in Gainesville or abroad or in DC is that this past March, we took a group of students to the Ocala National Forest, and they did a primitive leadership course. Oh, wow. No internet. It was, it was a lot, but they had a blast. They had to really fine tune their communication style. So, there's a lot of things that students can do above and beyond just the online experience to really make it that much richer of an MBA, experience.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely. Naz, what would you say are the differentiators of the Warrington Online MBA?
Yeah, so I would say, we pride ourselves on having a graduation and retention rate of over 93%, which is huge, especially in the online space. When students have the ability to pick and choose what they're taking and when, we realize that oftentimes life will get in the way. And so one of the big things that we continue to hear from our alums is the fact that they are still very connected with their cohort. And in fact, years after cohorts have graduated, they still do reunions. In fact, in a couple of weeks, I'll be going on a reunion trip with one of our groups. And I think that's really what's important, is building connections. We talk about the value of an MBA is learning the business acumen, but it's also building your network. And the best way to build a network is to establish relationships with individuals. So having this ability to come to campus and spend just 2 days here and really immerse yourself in this experience and have a cohort that every week when you're on your Canvas course site, who those little dots or pictures are, right? Those people who are making comments, the same individuals that you will consistently work on groups and teams with through projects, that's huge. And so I think the camaraderie is a huge differentiator and why we continue to maintain the cohort-based model. That, I would say, coupled with all the outside of the classroom opportunities we have, whether it be with career coaching, professional development opportunities. In fact, just in the fall, we invested in bringing in a wellness and performance coach that will help our students. And we recognize as they're navigating multiple facets of life that sometimes we just need to reset, and having somebody to help coach them through that is huge. And so I think when you're talking about our differentiator, it's how have we over the last 24 years made investments in the program and in our students to ensure that they are ready and prepared and eager to be a Gator and to represent the leadership, style that we know, they can, because they've taken our business acumen, our courses, and they've fine-tuned their business acumen. So I think that's the big thing, is coming to campus, being in a cohort, and then doing all the above and beyond curricular, the co-curricular activities, I think really make this program stand out.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Tracy, what about your differentiators?
Yeah, so I would say, it is our flexibility, and that goes beyond, right, what I've mentioned already, even to kind of, the ability to take a class, a regular class like, managerial economics or accounting, but also add in a 1 credit interesting elective, say on value investing or quality analytics, visualization, any type of course like that so you can couple what you're doing to get through, say, the core part of the program with kind of a less demanding elective at the same time, 1 credit elective. So I think that's a recent innovation that we've added so that students can get started getting through the program, but also have a little bit of innovation and exploration along the way. I think the ability to pivot to one of our hybrid satellite classes anytime and take one of those. I think, for some students, it's staying completely online the whole time and having that flexibility of when they want to take a class and when they want to take a little bit of a break. I think our faculty are a real highlight of our program. The faculty that teach in our online program are the faculty that teach in our on-ground program. And they've been with us for years. So they're engaged. They love teaching this group of students. And our faculty and our students keep in touch with each other. And we have a strong alumni bond in that way.
Yeah, very good. Naz, if I were to ask an alumni why they chose Warrington, what do you think they would say?
I would say that it's the fact that we have been deliberate about making a robust, strong experience, right? And I think that I kind of alluded to what our differentiator is with my last response, but I think going above and beyond that, we have over, actually this weekend, we have another professional and online MBA graduation. So our alumni network for this specific UF MBA will be over 13,000 strong. Our Warrington College of Business, we have over 85,000 and over 500,000 Gators globally. So I think the network is huge. But I think that the network is only, valuable is if you can make those connections with that network. And so, we partner with our local Gator clubs throughout the country. We ensure that whenever we are coming to an area that we help get all of our current students and alums together. But above and beyond that, just knowing that we are dedicated to their success, both inside of the classroom and beyond. I mean, we have a dedicated career coach, whether you're an online 1-year student or an online 2-year student, you have a dedicated career coach that you can call. We have a dedicated career curriculum. We have a professional development team that will help with certification opportunities like Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, Power BI. So there are a lot of things that we invest in our students above and beyond the classroom. And we're constantly doing that. That's like our big thing, right? We are in the business of, being ahead of the curve, right? And so we're constantly innovating to ensure that we can deliver a skill set to our students to ensure that they are ready to handle the demands of what the business leader of today needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Tracy, what about you? What do you think that the Isenberg alumni would say about why they chose the program?
I think it starts first with reputation and credibility, and organizations like Poets and Quants, right, help schools to get out there and put their best foot forward. But we also have I'd say a strong referral among our graduates, right? So we have a strong presence in different industries, and they basically, our alums recommend our program to their peers, their coworkers. And I'd say that's our strongest, avenue for new admissions is that word of mouth. And, over the years, we've maintained that. I think the faculty, the networking events that we have, and we do innovate as far as keeping up that engagement, whether you're online or at one of our hybrid locations. We're always looking to offer students the best way to deliver coursework, content, innovation wherever they are, and whatever format, 1 credits, 3 credits, summer, winter. So we're always constantly looking to meet students where they are and make it easier and accessible to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We may have alluded to this a little bit earlier, but Tracy, can you tell me about any opportunities or programs that maybe can bring online MBA students to the campus or together?
Yeah, so we have a calendar of events, whether it's a Boston networking event in the fall or the spring, or a golf outing in Amherst, or panels in Amherst. We do have that kind of laid out in a easy to kind of digest calendar. We have a graduate student kind of advisory council that gives us feedback on that programming and what else they would add to what we offer. And we also find that whether it's our online MBA students or, students in some of our specialized masters, they really enjoy the opportunity to get to know one another and mingle together at these networking events. And it really enriches the experience. So we bring all of our graduate program students together.
Yeah, great. Naz, what about at Warrington?
Yeah, so like I said, we partner with a lot of our Gator clubs to get our students, once they're in their respective areas, right? We want them to stay engaged with us, whether they're a current student or an alum of the program. But beyond that, we are deliberate about, hosting a number of live and virtual networking events. So even before a cohort starts, usually about a month before, to get them excited about coming to campus and start the conversation, and maybe a group me or WhatsApp group or something like that. The admissions team, we actually create just an informal networking event in the evening so that all of our admits who are planning on joining us can start to get to know one another. And that, I think, is a really important point that I like to make, because the networking begins even before you've enrolled. And so then once, what we've seen on the flip side to that is once individuals come to campus, it's a continued conversation. They're not necessarily meeting new faces per se. I mean, but they are, in the sense of like they hadn't met in person before, but they've already been having these conversations, virtually. And in that way, it actually really strengthens, I think, their connection once they arrive to campus. And so, but as an enrolled student, we continue to also host networking events throughout the year. In fact, We always do a big homecoming tailgate here on campus. And in fact, this last year, we had about 600 RSVPs. Most of those were our online students that wanted to come and experience being here on campus and what the environment of a football game is all about. But beyond that, we also host a lot of experiential learning or professional development focused weekends where students can come at any point, and they can spend the weekend here in Gainesville and focus on resume building or mock interviewing or storytelling or ethical leadership. And so there is an opportunity for all of our students to come to campus if they choose. And so we have designated weekends throughout the year where we invite students to come and really embrace what it's like to be a UF MBA. And those are all elective, right? Like nobody's requiring anybody to do those, but hopefully, our students are finding that these are helpful. And so beyond the virtual networking events that we can bring students together. And of course, we, this weekend, like I said, we have graduation. We have about 450 graduates coming back to campus, and most of them are online students. We want them to come to campus. We want them to celebrate them. We want them to celebrate with their families. And so it's another great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's given, the digital and virtual world we're all living in and communicating over Zoom today for this. Would you say an online MBA program maybe helps prepare students for this kind of business environment that maybe other programs don't?
Yeah, I oftentimes actually have this conversation with our faculty members, and I ask them, what do you feel is the camaraderie feel between an online program versus an in-person program? And actually, most of the time, they actually think that our online students are more engaged and more connected because it requires them to be, right? Like the only way you're going to get to know your classmates is to be intentional about carving that time out to speak to them or to Zoom with them or to, do anything virtually with them. Whereas when you see students every day or on every third weekend or whatnot, there's almost like, hey, I didn't catch them this go around, I'll catch them next time. Yeah. But I think actually, especially as we think about like the Great Resignation, as we think about how we've evolved since COVID, and so much of our lives are around webcams, and you can see changing lights in an office. I don't know what just happened. That at the end of the day, this is how we do business, right? And so I think actually doing an online program better prepares our students actually in the business world, because whether you're working with a colleague who's literally right across the office or halfway across the world, you have to be able to communicate in this manner. And I think an online MBA program helps leverage that.
Yeah. Tracy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely feel the same. I think to add to that, students encounter a number of different platforms with different purposes, right? When they're pursuing education online. So whether it's a course management system or, Isenberg has iConnect, our career platform, right? Mm-hmm. Where students can find just a wealth of information about career and professional development. They can connect to their career coaches, dedicated career coaches, writing professionals, or even consider like a life design workshop. But all that information, in a digital world, it tends to be organized and offered in a platform type environment. And I think, just inherently, someone in an online educational program is used to navigating that space, that digital space. They're used to working in an environment where they're, dealing with one another in Zoom, right? Or asynchronously and chats and, social media. And it does better prepare them for the world that we find ourselves fully immersed in these days. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tracy, another thing about, the MBA student is they're, a lot of times come to the program because they think they're focused on a specific role, company, or career path, rather than, maybe thinking about the softer skills, what kind of leader they want to be, that kind of thing that the MBA can provide. What advice would you have for students when they're thinking about an MBA in the soft skills realm?
Right. Well, so first I'd say, we have a good number of students that come in and they see themselves as career advancers, right? They have careers, they're happy with their employer, and they may tend to be focused on a certain path that's going to enhance their career at that specific organization. Versus others may know they're coming in to switch careers, right? And they're really delving into technical specialty coursework as a result. And so what we recommend, because we've seen the range, right? We've seen the full range of interest and we've seen the change in interest during the program. So we recommend that our students keep an open mind, that they, try to set up a path with their advisor to work through the program at a pace that makes sense. And that they also allow themselves time to really take advantage of the career and development workshops we offer that are not part of the coursework, to take those extra electives, right? Those 1-credit electives, or say a focus area, they're going to take them out of their comfort zone and make them think about other opportunities, and basically just to keep an open mind throughout the entire journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Good advice. Naz, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just embracing the experience, recognizing that, whether it's Tracy's program or my program, we have curated this opportunity with that kind of the consumer in mind, right? That student in mind. We want them to, obviously have the analytical skills, the decision-making skills, but we also, know that it's important to have those soft skills. And so everything that we have to offer, whether it be inside the classroom or beyond, is really to well-round that candidate. And so my best piece of advice is, if you can, do anything and everything possible that's offered. We recognize that life happens. You're not going to do everything, but if you can, at least make that attempt. We always say you're only going to do an MBA once, right? Maybe, hopefully. So maximize the experience and figure out exactly, even if you're not looking for, let's say, a career change today, we recognize that about 33% of our students are looking to grow within their organizations. 33% are looking to make a shift. And the other 33% are really just looking for, to have that degree in case the opportunity, of movement occurs, right? Like they want to be ready with that MBA to deploy if and when the right opportunity arises. And because of that, I think, in knowing that, it's important to ensure that you've maximized your opportunity while you're enrolled so that you're ready if and whenever, things happen, right? Nobody was going to predict the pandemic, and then this happened, right? And so I think being agile is definitely something that all MBA programs hopefully, instill, and then having all of those co-curricular opportunities, if you've embraced those, to better transition or better, position yourself when transitions occur.
Yeah. And sticking with you, Naz, this is maybe kind of a question that requires you to look into the crystal ball a bit too much. But, over the next 3 to 5 years, do you see any kind of, how do you think the online MBA might evolve, or maybe specifically at Warrington?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go get my crystal ball. Okay.
Exactly. Sometimes I ask it and I'm like,
what? This is
no, that's the answer.
No, I think that the best answer is really, if we've kept a pulse on what employers are looking for, right? If we are reading headlines, if we are trusting our faculty and knowing that they're the subject matter experts in each of their industries, and if we're following the cues of what's happening in the world, and we're not just, staying under our, institutional rocks, if you will, then I think that recognizing that we are agile and that we recognize the importance of being ahead of the curve and being, innovative, that if we have that as core to our philosophy as the Warrington College of Business, then, the next 3 to 5 years, we don't need a crystal ball, because we're able to be intentional about reacting as, market changes, also occur. And I think at the end of the day, part of that is also on my team and I, as we're thinking about, let's say, diversity, equity, and inclusion. What do we want the boardrooms of tomorrow to look like? And so I think that for us, it's how can we kind of really, think about broadening our student base, broadening our geographic touch, ensuring that we're constantly being innovative with the professional development opportunities, that we're listening to what's happening in the news, that our career coaches know what qualities our corporate recruiters are looking for. That if all of these things are happening, then in the next 3 to 5 years, when the next iteration of ChatGPT or something arises, that we will have the decision-making skill set that we are teaching our students to be able to react and really to flourish.
Yeah, it's like you had a crystal ball the whole time. Tracy, what do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, thinking back on our recent innovations and how our student population has responded, right? I feel like we need to look forward and be ready for lifelong learning. I'm amazed at how our students want to keep taking classes. They're finished. They want to add a focus area. They want to add a dual degree, right? They want to add on, we're thinking about certificates in different areas, because I think if we make education, we bring it to the student in a way that they can easily get to it, digest it, and enjoy it, then they're going to stay with us. And we need to think about, as society changes and the business world changes, what do our students need as lifelong learners, and deliver that to them.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's I'll just give you each a chance to kind of tell us kind of the final thought that I didn't ask about, or something that you didn't get to break up. And then please tell everybody what's the best way to reach out to learn more about your programs. And Tracy, we'll start with you.
Great. So I would just say that our programs and our people are here and accessible. That, as Naz mentioned earlier, the application process isn't nearly as onerous as you might think it is. So I would reach out. I would say, our program is here for you and here for learning throughout the years. Reach out. grad@isenberg.umass.edu is a way that you can reach us, whatever your interests are. And that, it's just as easy as hitting submit, right? Yeah. Get that application going. Hit submit, pick up the phone, email, call us, and we'll help you through the rest of it.
Yeah, very good. And Naz, final thoughts for you.
Yeah, so I would say here at the Warrington College of Business, we offer, a number of specialized master's programs, of course, our MBA program, specifically our online MBA program, and it can be confusing. And so I think that as you navigate what is the best degree option for your career objectives and your personal objectives, that's really where the admissions team, we are experts in this. And so I encourage you to reach out and let me know how I can assist. I mean, oftentimes we have students that are thinking, do I want a full-time MBA or an online MBA? Do I want an in-person experience or a virtual experience? And that's really where my team and I, are here to help. And in fact, that's why we make also investments beyond just, having students or prospective students Zoom with us or do weekly info sessions. I mean, we host a GMAT bootcamp, not because we want our students to go out and, of course, if they want to go out and get an 800, that's great. But recognizing that just thinking about getting back to school, what are some tools that we can give them in terms of confidence in doing so? And so I just really encourage our students to reach out. Let us help you navigate what would be best for you. And I feel like this is, like I said, a great first start listening to this Poets and Quants session today. And if you'd like to connect with me, naz@warrington.ufl.edu, or my cell phone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to get
I would have loved it. It's so late in the afternoon, it would have flown right over my head. So, well, thank you both for the great insights and all your time. And thanks to all our viewers for joining us today. And remember, we have a lot of other conversations out there for prospective students. You can find those on YouTube or on our website, poetsandquants.com. And until next time, have a great day. Thank you, everyone.